Roxelana quickly came to the attention of her master and attracted the jealousy of rivals. She soon became Suleiman's favorite consort or Haseki Sultan. Hurrem's influence over the Sultan soon became legendary. She was to bear the majority of Suleiman's children, and, in an astonishing break with tradition, she was eventually freed. Breaking with 2 centuries of Ottoman tradition, a former concubine thus became the legal wife of the Sultan, much to the astonishment of observers in the palace and in the city. It made Suleiman the first Ottoman emperor to have a wed wife since Orhan Gazi, Bey from 1326 to 1362, and it strengthened Hurrem's position in the palace and eventually led to one of her sons, Selim, inheriting the empire in 1566. In the Istanbul harem, Hürrem Sultan became a very influential rival to Mahidevran Sultan. Hurrem gave birth to her first son Mehmed in 1521, he died in 1543, and then to 4 more sons, destroying Mahidevran's status as the mother of the Sultan's only son. Suleiman's mother, Ayşe Hafsa Sultan, partially suppressed the rivalry between the 2 women, but after her death in 1534, a fight broke out, with Mahidevran beating Hurrem. This angered Suleiman, who subsequently sent Mahidevran to live with her son, Şehzade Mustafa, in the provincial capital of Manisa. This exile was shown officially as the traditional training of heir apparents, Sanjak Beyliği. Hurrem and Mahidevran had borne Suleiman many sons, 4 of whom survived past the 1550s, Mustafa, Selim, Bayezid, and Sahang-ur. Of these, Mustafa was the eldest and preceded Hurrem's children in the order of succession. Hurrem knew that should Mustafa become sultan, her own children would be strangled. Yet Mustafa was recognized by the people as the most talented of all the brothers and was supported by Pargal Brahim Pasha, who became Suleiman's Grand Vizier in 1523. A number of sources have suggested that Ibrahim Pasha had been a victim of Hurrem Sultan's intrigues and rising influence on the sovereign, especially in view of Ibrahim's past support for the cause of Şehzade Mustafa. Hurrem is usually held at least partly responsible for the intrigues in nominating a successor. Although she was Suleiman's wife, she exercised no official public role. This did not, however, prevent Hurrem from wielding powerful political influence. Since the empire lacked, until the reign of Ahmed I in 1603 to 1617, any formal means of nominating a successor, successions usually involved the death of competing princes in order to avert civil unrest and rebellions. In attempting to avoid the execution of her sons, Hurrem used her influence to eliminate those who supported Mustafa's accession to the throne. Thus, in power struggles apparently instigated by Hurrem, Suleiman had Ibrahim murdered, 1536, and replaced with her sympathetic son-in-law, Rustem Pasha, Grand Vizier 1544 to 1553 and 1555 to 1561, the husband of her daughter by Suleiman, Mihrimah Sultan. Many years later, towards the end of Suleiman's long reign, the rivalry between his sons became evident. Furthermore, both Hurrem Sultan and the Grand Vizier Rustem Pasha turned Suleiman against Mustafa, and Mustafa was accused of causing unrest. During the campaign against Safavid Persia in 1553, because of a fear of rebellion, Sultan Suleiman ordered the execution of Mustafa. According to a source, he was executed that very year on charges of planning to dethrone his father. His guilt for the treason of which he was accused remains neither proven nor disproven. After the death of Mustafa, Mahidevran lost her status in the palace, as the mother of the heir apparent, and moved to Bursa and lived a troubled life. She did not spend her last years in poverty, however, for her stepson Selim II, the new sultan after 1566, put her on a salary. Her rehabilitation may have been possible only after the death of Hurrem in 1558. Sahang-ur, Hurrem's youngest child, allegedly died of grief a few months after the news of his half-brother's murder. After Suleiman executed Mustafa in October 1553, a degree of dissatisfaction and unrest arose among soldiers who blamed Rustem Pasha for Mustafa's death. Then Suleiman dismissed Rustem Pasha and appointed Kara Ahmed Pasha as his Grand Vizier in October 1553. But almost 2 years later, Kara Ahmed Pasha became the victim of vicious calumnies brought against him by Hürrem Sultan, who wanted her son-in-law, Rustem Pasha, to become the Grand Vizier again. Kara Ahmed Pasha was strangled in September 1555, and Rustem Pasha became the Grand Vizier, 1555 to 1561, once more. Suleiman also allowed Hürrem Sultan to remain with him at court for the rest of her life, breaking another tradition that when imperial heirs came of age, they would be sent along with the imperial concubine who bore them to govern remote provinces of the empire. The concubines were never to return unless their progeny succeeded to the throne, Sanjak Beyliği. Hürrem also acted as Suleiman's advisor on matters of state, and seems to have had an influence upon foreign affairs and on international politics. 2 of her letters to King Sigismundus II Augustus of Poland, reigned 1548 to 1572, have survived, and during her lifetime the Ottoman Empire generally had peaceful relations with the Polish state within a Polish-Ottoman alliance.